Republic.
Hey everyone, I'm Petrie.
I'm Chris.
And welcome back to another... God, I haven't done this in forever.
I know, it's been a long time. And you know what our reason is? We have legitimate jobs.
Yeah.
I don't know if some of these guys can do these shows like 2-3 times a day, sometimes it seems like.
Yeah, I'm out of the house 11 hours out of the day.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to go to work, I got to go to the gym, and I got to do other things at home, like clean and actually keep up the home. So, I'm not available.
Right, yeah.
You're not either.
No, yeah.
But I think it's a valid excuse and people understand.
I hope they do. If you don't, well, you're not old enough to understand.
Exactly.
So.
You're probably like 20 and you're still in college and you're just kind of dealing with it as you go. And that's fine.
Probably sitting there in the student center,
I love those student centers.
I can't do that lifestyle anymore. I can't.
People complain about the food and stuff, and I'm like, you know what? It's really not that bad. Like, I understand that, college food isn't like the Grand Ritz of food. But you know what? They have a salad bar, they have protein. That's enough to get me by. That's all I care about.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah,
it's sustenance. I just don't want to pay $2,000 a semester for that.
Yeah, I understand. I understand completely. Well, unfortunately, we're together here today to talk about the passing of a true legend, King Kong Bundy.
61.
Yeah, this is insane. It seems like to me, everybody that I've watched on videotape from the 80s is pretty much dying out. We got Pedro we just lost. We have Bundy we just lost. The Destroyer just passed away, but he was pretty old.
He was 88.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's feasible. But it just seems like all of a sudden, man, these guys are dropping like flies. Now, I don't know King Kong Bundy's health history, but I'm sure the weight didn't help.
No.
I'm sure it didn't.
No. When you look like Straw Mad from the Homestar Renner cartoons, that's not good.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight and pressure on your body, but regardless of that, this is one of those guys, I think, that falls in the category of why wasn't he used again after the first 2 runs? He's funny as heck. Put him on the broadcast team. Put him as a color guy somewhere, or a backstage interview guy. I think he's hysterical, or a special attraction. They didn't do anything with him.
I think the catch was with Bundy, he probably didn't, with him being the monster, a monster.
Yeah.
You don't see monsters do that, in anything.
That's true.
Abyss tries to do that, and it's kind of man, you can't go back to the old non-speaking Abyss.
I think that's true. If you look at the Bundy, the mystique of him was that size. And when I say they didn't use him, I mean WWF,
the width.
Yeah.
I get the Bundy.
They just didn't use him again after 94. But, all right, so besides all that, how do you want to start it off? You want to talk about your favorite memory of Bundy, or you just want to kind of go through the motions? We can go through the motions of his career.
Let's just go through the motions of his career then.
Okay, that's fine. From what I gather, what he said, he trained with Larry Sharpe. Right. And it seemed like Larry Sharpe was one of those con guy kind of individuals, but they all are in a way. Right. They're going to try to.
Yeah, Bundy was out of the Monster Factory, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
The original Monster Factory. No disrespect to them. It's just from what he was saying that Larry wasn't he wasn't a full con artist, but he kind of BS you a lot. That's the vibe I got from listening to a couple of his shoots, and he'd take the ring in and out for them. He'd do a lot. He trained. And that's what got him those shows working with WWE in the beginning. He'd go to Allentown and Hamburg and be a jobber, so to speak. So he started with them.
Because he was, which is absolutely wild, because he was still a big guy.
And see, that's where it's hard to suspend belief too, because when you got a guy that's almost 400 pounds and he's jobbing out to Mr. Fuji, what sense does that make? You know what I mean? Or not necessarily Mr. Fuji, but ST Jones or something. It's well, that's a little hard to believe. But back then, I guess they got the fans into it so much that that's how it was.
Sure, yeah.
And it's interesting too, when he kind of first started out, he had hair.
Yeah.
That's a big misconception. I think a lot of people think King Kong Bundy's bald. He has a full head of hair. When he grows his hair back, it's pretty full. It looks better than mine. He's definitely got the hair.
The lack of eyebrows always threw me off too.
That was a little odd too. That was interesting because he never looked like he had any, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it seemed like after the WWF, he went down to Texas for a while. He was Big Daddy Bundy, which is an interesting name.
That's a great name.
Yeah. And, I feel like, it seemed like a lot of these guys, not everybody, they job in WWE for a while, and then they go to like a smaller territory, really learn their craft and become a star, and then come back to WWE and rock it. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
A lot of guys do that, like Eddie Gilbert, Kurt Hennig, even Rick Martel somewhat to a degree. But yeah, I mean, he was Big Daddy Bundy. Then he pretty much became King Kong Bundy there. He was Fritz von Erich's opponent too. I want to talk about that at Texas Stadium show in '82. That was like his big. I think that was probably like one of his big first moments was fighting Fritz von Erich. I mean,
Would have to have been.
It's like you're fighting Vince McMahon.
As a retirement show? Come on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's interesting too. Like, I mean, it shows you that Fritz von Erich must have had a lot of faith in him to put him in that kind of a match against him. I mean, it's a special attraction type of match, but
Yeah, absolutely.
that's pretty awesome. Then he worked AWA a little bit, NWA. It didn't seem like anything too memorable, and then all of a sudden back to the WWF, and that's where it started to skyrocket. A lot of people probably don't remember, but he didn't start off in the Heenan family right away. He was with Jimmy Hart.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
you're right.
Yeah, a lot of people forget that, and I think everybody remembers King Kong Bundy, the Heenan family, Bobby Heenan, but no, he was with Jimmy Hart for a little bit. And that's what kind of happened in the 80s too. I noticed a lot of these guys started off with like random managers, and they kind of switched. Like Demolition did that with Johnny Valiant. A lot of people don't know that. And then, Slick kind of took over for Classy Freddie Blassie. I think it was like in '86. He started taking over his guys. But stuff like that, they would trade a lot of people. And sometimes I think some managers look better with wrestlers than others do. Like, even though people say Mr. Fuji was good with Demolition, I still don't think he was that great. Like, I don't... some people can argue, and that's fine. But I don't know. I always see like a Paul Ellering guy with Demolition. But see, I think like Big Daddy Humperdinck would have been better with Demolition. Like,
Okay, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like one of those biker kind of guys. Because he was with Bam Bam, so that would make sense if he was with Demolition. But I guess, they did what they did, and that's fine. But anyway, back to Bundy, yeah. He comes in there, and then he wrestles S.D. Jones at Mania 1.
Yeah, I always forget that. Yeah.
I don't think SD does, but everybody else does. They're like, well, but he beat him like real quick. It was like 8 seconds.
Well, that was the problem with the first WrestleMania. It's like you're 3 matches in, and it's 15 minutes. That was nothing like what it is now.
That show is such a cluster. If you watch it, if you go back to watch WrestleMania 1, it was just rushed. Alfred Hayes looked like he was just like a deer in the headlights.
They left Alfred Hayes out to dry.
They really did. He was like in the grill, like a little bit past the gorilla position. Well, I guess he was in the gorilla position. It was kind of like that midpoint to the ring. Yeah. And it was just a cluster. Like, it was just like, oh my gosh, they're rushing everything. And
I think that was one of the main reasons why I was so upset with him being inducted into that Legends class.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Because that's saying like we don't really...
Well, plus, he was in the first WrestleMania, so like all these other guys get Hall of Fame spots, but no, here's your spot, but you got to share it with 20 other people.
Yeah, I don't like that because that's pretty much belittling him, like degrading him, saying that you really weren't that important. Alfred Hayes, like, even though I didn't like him that much as an announcer, I don't really think he did. I don't know. He always just seemed kind of lost in matches and would just, I don't know. Sometimes you thought he was a heel, but then you thought sometimes he was a face. He was just kind of out there with. I mean, he was a babyface, I'd say 100% of the time. But it was confusing, and you couldn't understand him as a kid. You're like, what is he saying? Yeah. But he was a big part of the WWF till like 94. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand the reasoning behind that at all. That's like saying, Jimmy Hart gets thrown in that class. Or are you saying that, heaven forbid, I mean, Gorilla Monsoon's already in, but throwing him in that. I mean, why would you do that?
Especially with, the cutoff with being, of being like old school, being past WrestleMania 1, which is how they act.
I know. It's like they don't want to like talk about it. It's just strange. But yeah, Bundy pretty much killed SD in that match. And then they were building up towards WrestleMania 2, and that's when he pretty much went with the Heenan family, if I'm correct.
You're right. Yeah,
I thought, he kind of joined the Heenan family then and solidified himself. And then he started wrestling Hogan. Yeah, because I'm reading up here. It says, like, yeah, actually, I'm sorry, 85. They did, like, one of those talent exchanges. Bundy went with Heenan, and Adonis went with, Jimmy Hart, as well as the Missing Link. But, I mean, no one really remembers Missing Link in WWE that much.
Yeah, no, unfortunately.
But, yeah, so they were building up for the Hogan and Bundy, and this was huge at the time. I mean, this is, like, someone that you think, well, Hogan could lose to.
Well, that was the main event of a 3-city show. Mm-hmm. Something they've never done, so...
No, and it was interesting to see that. They've never done that, I think, since.
Yeah, they definitely haven't.
I would like to see that again. That would be an interesting WrestleMania.
It will give... I think it'll be fair to a lot of these smaller markets.
Does it make more sense to do it now, since they're so big?
I think they should.
Why don't they just do WrestleMania 3 nights? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's WrestleMania every night. You get like your one show in Chicago, one show in New York, one show in LA.
Dude, not even Chicago, New York, LA. Like, go to all the towns that wouldn't get its own standalone WrestleMania.
True. You could do that too.
Yeah. Like, Pittsburgh would never get a WrestleMania, but it'd still be nice to have, like, just to be a part of that.
Yeah, like you could do the Friday night, version or whatever. I mean, I think it's
Go back to Indianapolis. What, don't they have that giant dome still?
I think so. Well, the one for WrestleMania 3, I think is gone.
Well, the RCA
the other
dome's
one,
gone. Yeah, but the new one they built.
But I think, I would say in the next 15 years you could see that again. I would think they would try that.
Right, and like they did this in the technology with like in the late '80s.
Yeah,
there's no reason why you can't do that now.
Yeah, if they can pull that off, then I mean, because I think they're getting to the point, not the sidetrack, but like the roster's getting so huge that you're almost going to have to do something like that eventually. You can only have so many 30, 40-man battle royals at the beginning of the show,
or multi-man matches.
Yeah,
multi-tag. Yeah,
it's almost like they could do WrestleMania and showcase each brand under a night. So NXT is WrestleMania for this Friday.
Technically they do
that special. Yeah,
they do take over.
But
like when we bought the Mania package, podcast coming soon on that. When we did the WrestleMania package, NXT was its own separate night.
Thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting to the point where there's like so many people, and then they have UK, and I heard they're looking into Japan. I mean, they're looking at it all over the world, but I heard Japan's the next one.
This has been like rumors for like a well-known rumor.
Yeah, so
it's been going on for years. Like and WWE is the new NWA.
Pretty much, yeah. They're taking over inch by inch.
Just need your own territory. Yeah, that's all you need.
Did you see? I mean, obviously you didn't see the Mania of Bundy and Hogan live, but what was your first memory? Did you watch that on videotape, DVD? Did you see it with at a friend's house? What was like your first memory of that?
Oh my, you know what? Honestly, just watching it on DVD.
DVD, yeah.
Yeah, because here's the catch: it's like I watched it whenever I could when I was a kid, but like I watched it from like if this week to week. It wasn't like I kept on it like on a daily basis.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think like some of the Mania wasn't that good. If you look at WrestleMania 2, there was some each place had their own like kind of main event match.
Yeah.
But a lot of the matches that were like
WrestleMania 2 was definitely up and down. I think as a whole, New York being the worst part.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean,
the show definitely got better as it went on.
Yeah, like I think the football thing, the Battle Royal helped boost it, and the tag match with the Bulldogs and the Dream Team and all that. But
I like to go back to that. Speaking about King Kong Bundy,
oh yeah,
just remind me.
Yeah,
we'll keep going. But I like
okay. Yeah, so Bundy's like in the Heenan family, teams up with Big John Studd a lot. That was a colossal tag team if you look at it. Those guys were huge. I mean, and that's another thing. Like, imagine if they did some cross promotion with the NWA, like the Road Warriors against them. That would be incredible. I'd pay to see that. Back in the day, Bundy and Studd against the Road Warriors, because that'd be great to watch. Or even like a different crazy tag team like the Freebirds or something. There was so much great talent back in the 80s. I mean, that was one heck of a decade.
They were also different too.
Yeah, like there wasn't like the same style. It wasn't like just all cruiserweight wrestling. It wasn't all just like Japanese style. There were so many different styles where it's like.
That's the thing though about like NXT now, and like I will say like look they pick and choose a lot of tremendous talent. They all kind of train them the same.
That's what I feel like too. Like a lot of it's like they all wear like not everybody, but the kick pad. I always call it like the kick pad kind of look. You wear those kick pads. You're like some kind of martial artist, and you do these like high acrobatic moves. That's fine, but like what if? Where's the big guy at?
Yeah, they're really very very few are there monsters anymore.
I know. We got to get back to that. It was really cool. So those two would team in a lot of matches. I always remember them in a lot of battle royals too. Like Bundy and Studd were just always in battle royals together.
Yeah.
And Bundy was just, that his finisher too, like that's another thing to talk about. The finisher he had, like the avalanche, that was like the Stinger Splash pretty much back in the day, he's probably the one that might have even started that. I don't know.
Had to have been.
I don't remember anybody else like really doing that. You could do maybe Andre to a degree, but it wasn't like his thing. Like he would pile up guys in the corner and just like smash them.
Yeah.
But and then he would do the 5 count. Nobody else did that before, I don't remember. Maybe it's like a one-off, but no one else ever did it again as a gimmick. He would make the ref count to 5. That was awesome.
That's an amazing idea.
Yeah. He's like, keep going. I want to see if they're still out. He was great. I think he was like one of the first really great big men. Showmanship-wise, I think he was great to watch. And when you saw King Kong Bundy, you're like, wow, this guy's big. it makes you be a wrestling fan again to watch his matches. He's just great.
Oh,
great.
I love going back just to watch it now.
Yeah. We'll have to do that sometime. We'll definitely have to watch it. But then after that, WrestleMania 3 came around. Well, actually, no, before that, Survivor Series. He teamed up.
Yeah, I was thinking Survivor Series.
He was getting his vengeance on Hogan with Andre again. Oh, I'm sorry. That's actually after. What am I thinking? After Mania 3. Mania 3 comes around, and he really kind of gets. He's not really even in like anywhere close to the main event. He does a 6-man tag. It's him and the 2 other little individuals. I think it's Lord Littlebrook and Little Tokyo against Hillbilly Jim and his 2 guys. And it was a fun match. He almost
killed someone. He almost killed Little Beaver.
Yeah, he turned on. Yeah, he turned on his or he almost killed Little Beaver, I guess, and then he kind of just left his partners out to dry.
Right. Yeah, because his partners took offense to that. And it's
that
was weird.
Yeah,
but it's just like, well, guy's called King Kong Bundy. What do you expect him to do? He's not going to let him win a game of checkers. Or something.
No. He's not going to hang out and be glad he lost. So the little guys turned face there for a second. I guess for the common good.
It just made Bundy seem more like a piece of shit.
Yeah, and that was good too. That helped him. I mean, it shows he's a monster.
Right.
I feel like after that, I mean, once we get to Survivor Series here, he teams with Andre, the gang, and Butch Reed and Rick Rude against Hogan and his gang. It was a good match, and it was neat to see it's Hogan's opponents, pretty much from the past 2 Manias together to try to take him down. And they actually do. They actually defeat Hogan's team. Wow. Andre wins. He's the sole survivor. I mean, it was really interesting too because it showcased Bam Bam Bigelow. That was his big. I feel like that was
his big coming out.
Yeah, big coming out, coming of age kind of match. Saying he's going to defeat these guys, but unfortunately he doesn't. But definitely helped Bam Bam. And Andre just pretty much. That's the first Survivor Series match, main event that I when I was watching. It was very young, where Hogan lost. I mean, it was the first Survivor Series in general, but usually the main event, the good guys always win the survival type of match. But he lost, so that was a statement there. But that was also that setup for Hogan and Andre at Mania 4 and that tournament and all that.
Yeah,
that was kind of getting towards that. Bundy got kind of phased out after this. He left in early '88, so he was gone. I mean, but his mystique still lived on. His action figure was still out there. He was still in commercials. He did this computer commercial, I remember, in the late '80s, early '90s.
Oh, I barely remember that.
Yeah, he did that, and then he kind of fizzed out. But he was
apparently he was in ECW.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, early '90s he was there for a little bit. He'd come and go. That's probably '93. That was that odd ECW time.
Yeah, it was Eastern.
Eastern, yeah.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of independence, but he kind of he stopped really being in mainstream. But for me, as a wrestling fan, he was still alive and well because I had all the tapes. I had his action figure. He was still relevant. So I feel like he was always kind of still a wrestler. To me, he wasn't out of the picture altogether.
And I think this is where in this time of his career you can really say where he contributed. He gave a lot back because you go on Twitter now and a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about Bundy.
Yeah, I mean he
Banna, Quackenbush.
He seemed like a funny guy. He'd always complain and stuff, but he seemed really really cool dude to be with. And that's what's hard too about indies in the late '80s, early '90s. A lot of us didn't even know they existed because unless you saw a poster in your local supermarket or somewhere out in the public, in a mall or maybe on a post somewhere outside, in traffic or something, you had no idea any local wrestling shows were happening.
Right.
But see, I was the kind of person that would source out for them. So I by chance I would find them on our local cable stations, or I would read news. I was always on top of wrestling, so I could find it, but. You could say King Kong Bundy from a lot of fans, he just vanished, after that.
Yeah.
For me he didn't, but for others, sure. Then he came back in '94, I guess after ECW, and
see that would have been about the time I would have phased out too.
So you phased, okay. Yeah. So he came back in '94, and I remember seeing the promo videos. He was climbing on the Empire State Building. He was climbing up to swat down some planes. I'm oh. My dad told me, I remember he said, hey, look at this. King Kong Bundy's come back. I'm all right, King Kong Bundy. And when he came back, it wasn't the same. I mean, I enjoyed him being there, but he looked completely different. It was weird. He didn't look like the King Kong Bundy that I was used to. He definitely dropped some weight, which was good. But he didn't look like that. I don't know. It just didn't look the same. His eyebrows definitely grew in. but he just looked different. Like he didn't look like King Kong Bundy. Like the profile was there, but like the face and stuff, he just looked different. And when he came in, he was like a big heel. He joined the $1 Million Corporation pretty much quickly after that, and I just don't feel like they made him out to be like the monster that he was. If you watch the '95 Rumble when he's in it, like he doesn't even last too long in it, and he gets thrown out by Mabel, which is fine. That was kind of setting up their feud because they did feud for a while, but it just wasn't the same. And like he wrestled like Razor, Lex Luger, a whole host of other guys. He feuded with The Undertaker at Mania '95. That was Mania 11.
Yeah.
But I feel like that one, even too, like I feel like he just didn't get his fair shake the second time around. Because you have King Kong Bundy. Like he's a big deal.
Right. Right. I mean, he was, plus, I think now we kind of like glanced over this, but like, this was like, what, 95, 96?
Yeah.
We're
90,
at?
Yeah.
We were like, he did some acting spots at this point, too.
That's true, yeah. He did. He was actually going backwards. He was supposed to be in The Running Man. He said that big guy, the electric guy, that's who his role was supposed to be, but Vince wouldn't let him get off.
I mean, the dude who was in Three Ninjas?
He's a dude who like sings and like the opera or whatever during The Running Man. That was supposed to be him, but he said Vince wouldn't let him off. And he's real mad about that. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him.
It was really good money from what he said.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did that. He was in Married with Children a couple times too.
Yeah.
He was one of the Bundys. Well, that's what they said too. I remember watching like the True Hollywood Story or whatever about Married with Children. They said they based it off wrestlers, the Bundys and the Rhodes, the names.
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes and King Kong Bundy. And I thought that was pretty cool too. Like, look at that impact. King Kong Bundy literally made a sitcom that we all love.
I don't know if he
yeah,
like he birthed it from his womb or something.
No, but like his influence, like his impact on these wrestling fans made a great sitcom. Like, I mean, that's a spin-off of pro wrestling in a way. It's great.
It's definitely a spin-off. Yeah.
I love that. Like one of the funniest Fox sitcoms of all time end up being like somehow related to King Kong Bundy. We can thank King Kong Bundy for that. I mean, and he was on that show too for a couple times. It was a lot of fun to watch him. And he did like a wrestling.
Yeah, he was funny.
Yeah, he was good. He was a good actor. But from what I read not what I read, but what I saw in his shoot interview, they said just wasn't a lot of money in it, so he didn't really pursue it too much. But I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, if you're getting WWF money compared to acting, I'm sure the WWF.
Right, probably easier work, I imagine, but it probably just still wasn't there.
Yeah, I agree. So like '95, he kind of the last time I remember seeing him was in the Raw Battle Royal when they threw him out first, and that was kind of it. And I was just like, that was just not. It's not what we wanted it to be. I don't know. The second time around just wasn't as good. I was kind of disappointed with that. And he wasn't like in a lot of the pay-per-views of '95. I mean, I remember him in Mania. I don't remember him at SummerSlam at all, because I was there. He wasn't on that show. I don't think he was even. I don't know if he was in the King of the Ring or not. I don't remember. But,
I don't think so either. No.
So I mean, that would be. They were going with the younger guys, so Mabel won the King of the Ring that year, and that makes sense. But I just feel like Bundy could have been showcased a lot better the second time around. I mean, he's like a big heel from the '80s, and they just didn't really. I don't think used him to the best of their ability, but
I feel like some guys it was like, all right, from the '80s, like Ken Patera, like I don't know, but like Tony Atlas, maybe let's give him a run, let's see what he does. But when it comes to Bundy still has that size. I'm like, come on, he still has that look.
Yeah, and people remember him from like a lot of stuff too. Like he's a memorable character, and it's just he I don't know, he just didn't get his fair shake. After that,
at least in the '90s.
Yeah. After that, it was pretty much independence.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I remember him from mainly. Like all those small shows here and there, or like those semi-big annual shows that the local promoters have. He was there. Like he was your go-to guy. It was like him, Snuka, and Honky Tonk Man. They were always like on the
always on all those other. Yeah, I remember that. Even as late as 2003, I think Pittsburgh Pro had a chance to book Bundy.
Yeah. See.
But I chose Kamala.
Hey,
Yeah. I was actually given the choice. Like, hey, you get to choose the legend. Who do you want?
That's cool.
You want Bundy, Shark Boy, or Kamala? I'm like, I gotta go with Kamala.
Yeah, well, Kamala. That's another one we can podcast about.
I would love to talk to Kamala again,
because he was unique too, and he was another one that really didn't get a fair shake the second time around. You look at that run.
That's a good reason why.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, we'll get into that one. But yeah, I mean, a lot of independent shows. Wasn't he on the Legends of Wrestling pay-per-view? He might have been.
The Legend pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was like that one where Jake the Snake got all drunk and stuff.
Oh, I think he was. Yeah.
I want to say he was in that. I'd have to take a look and kind of look it up, but I want to say possibly.
I'm gonna say yes.
I mean, like from what I read before, I don't really remember seeing anything about that. But maybe he wasn't. I don't know. You have to go back and look. It seems like he would fit that mold though to be a part of that.
You mean Heroes of Wrestling?
Yeah.
Yes, he definitely was.
Okay,
October 10th, 99. Okay.
Yeah, I figured they put him on. So that was like his last big, I'd say, pay-per-view match and event. Do you know who he took on? I honestly don't even remember. That was like a little bit of everybody, like the Bushwhackers, Jake, all those guys were kind of on that thing.
I do not. Just a moment. Dead air. Dead air. Jim Neidhart and King Kong Bundy defeated Jake Roberts and Yokozuna.
Oh, so he was in the main event.
He was in the main event.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like one of those pay-per-views
How
I
did
watched.
we forget that?
Well, you know what? It's like one of those pay-per-views we heard about. I didn't order it, but then when I finally watched it, I honestly forgot almost the entire card. The only feud that was like actually they put some effort into was Tully Blanchard against Stan Lane, because they actually had like a little bit of a setup and they made it look like these two guys wanted to kill each other. But that's the only match I remember because they actually put some effort into it. But the rest of it was that was a mess.
Well, apparently, I think with the Heroes Wrestling show, I mean, it's definitely eclipsed by Jake Roberts and the. I think that was the Bushwhackers match that really stunk up a storm.
Okay, there was a lot of it was definitely like a low card pay-per-view. We'll have to go back. We could do a review on that one.
I think a lot of people have done reviews on that. Yeah, it was the Bushwhackers and the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, and they just had a real stinker.
Yeah, and those are your other go-to indie guys right there.
Oh, yeah.
Like Doink the Clown, Tom Brandi, King Kalua.
Well, every territory has their own Doink.
Yeah. Doink's always available.
Doink is always, even though he's dead, he's been dead for like 10 years.
You can get
Doink is always available.
Yeah, you throw Doink in there. He's Doink and an executioner, and you got a show, man. There's always an executioner. I mean, I don't think they ever execute anyone.
No, they never did. Hangman. And,
nothing.
Yeah,
they never do anything. Oh. But yeah, so like that was Bundy's probably last show. Like that was on pay-per-view was the Heroes of Wrestling, and that was like the big one. That's all I honestly remember. And I never feel like WWE. They never really acknowledged him afterwards. They never really did anything else to...
No. I can't believe he wasn't even in that gimmick battle royal at 17.
I know, that's surprising too.
That was like early.
Yeah.
That was like 2001.
He could have definitely been in that. And I'm surprised they didn't do like a DVD on him. The legend of King Kong Bundy. I mean, he had some good matches. He had a good story to tell. But yeah, nobody ever really did it.
Well, speaking about stories to tell, it's definitely... you got to talk about the work that he's done with the shoot interviews that he's done. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
Especially with kayfabe commentaries.
Yeah, I have one he did with Pro Wrestling Diaries. I tell you what, if you have a chance to get this, folks, get it. It's usually on eBay. You can find it. I'm not sure about Amazon.
I'm not too sure now because considering he's passed, that the premium on that might have gone up.
Yeah, it probably did. I think I got this in 2012. It's autographed. I think I got it for $10, $11, something like that. Which was, I mean, for a 2-disc set, that was well worth it. They did a few other ones with like Slaughter, Mabel, a couple of Nikolai Volkov. But I wanted to get this because I never really saw like a King Kong Bundy shoot interview. And the reason why I wanted to get it was because I listened to some of his appearances on podcasts, and he seemed so funny. Like he did stand-up comedy for a while. So that was like his other thing he would do. He did a lot of stand-up comedy, and he's just a funny guy.
Very, very opinionated, but he's not... I guess some people don't, he's gruff, so I guess that makes him controversial. Your snowflakes, but like no, he's always had like an interesting take on things.
He did, and he just didn't really care like about certain things. And I think with this, he was a little bit in character too. But it's a good watch. Pro Wrestling Diary. They present the King Kong Bundy shoot interview. It's 2 discs. It's really fun to watch. He's just a laugh the whole time, and it's entertaining. He talks about his whole career. Really fun to watch. I don't know. I haven't seen any other ones besides like a few like off and on podcasts.
Going back to this, all the stuff done by kayfabe commentaries. Buy their stuff.
Yeah.
Don't be a little turd and don't bootleg it.
I know he has some good stuff. The kayfabe commentary guys. I mean, they definitely.
It was a good book too, and he talks about Bundy in it too.
Does he?
Yeah.
Bundy's always, and this is what I understand. Like he could have been utilized somewhere else. Like TNA could have been.
Even just like a consultant, not a producer, just a consultant.
Anything. It just seemed like he was like one of those guys that got lost in the shuffle, and like he was talented. He still, he still could go to an aspect of like just helping train guys or help them get to where they need to be. I just don't understand why what he even like a manager maybe or something. He just wasn't utilized enough.
Yeah. I don't say necessarily like a manager, but could you imagine him just guiding Abyss?
Oh yeah.
I'm just like backstage, Bundy taking him aside, like, what are you doing up there?
Yeah. Yeah, like helping him get some more credibility. I
Yeah.
think he could have been an asset to a lot of people, and a lot of those guys I feel like from the '80s could have been that weren't. But maybe he just. I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't have like not listened to somebody if they wanted to give him some money. I mean, who wouldn't? But he just seemed like he did indies for the rest of his career, and then stand-up comedy after that. And he did do a lot of like podcasts I've seen. He did one with Vince Russo recently too. It wasn't too long ago. And they talked about how the business is changing and how things just aren't what they probably should be to help it grow. A lot of it, he's a big person against like the cruiserweight kind of style. He's like, because people just don't believe it after a while, and I can understand that. I remember on this Pro Wrestling Diary shoot, he talked about how he's watching TNA one time. It looked like they were dancing out there. He's like, they're not, and I can see that, and I can understand.
I get that too. He could have done. He could have contributed his part to at least to the big men stuff.
Yeah, I think he could have.
Right.
And I think we're in a new age too, where it's like the little men are getting the shot. It's been the big age. It's been the big man era for a long time. Now the little guys are kind of getting their fair shake.
I just want to see people just go. I just want to see people do things.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. My big problem was I don't want to see some guy in a ring satin jacket growling against some guy in a $10,000 robe.
Yeah. There's only so much you can see.
Right. Yeah. I want to see them. Yeah. I want to see them like do something.
Like you can work a headlock, I'm sure, for like an hour, but does anybody want to see that?
Yeah.
No. And it's just like it gets boring after a while too. So I can see both sides of it, but I think
you can no bump in a match and still steal the show.
Oh yeah, we've seen that. I mean,
but you can also no bump and like ruin the show completely.
Yeah, you can really like make it a turd. I think King Kong Bundy overall, he's just great. I mean, he's the kind of guy you could sit in the bar with and have a beer and just enjoy talking to.
Yeah, he always seemed like very personable.
Yeah. And he made a darn good living, I'd have to say. Imagine like his payoffs with Hogan.
He had to have.
And Mania and the Survivor Series with Hogan. I mean, that's money there.
One of the things I liked about the kayfabe commentary was that Supercard, and Sean revealed what Perry got for the Battle Royal. It was like $130,000.
Wow.
And Bunny's just like sitting there. He was stunned, and he didn't sell out.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, did William Perry really not sell out Chicago in the 80s?
That's hard to believe, huh?
Oh my god.
That's crazy that I got. I mean, imagine that, like that money they got back then. That was huge, and it's still huge today.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hard to believe they didn't sell out Chicago though. You have like your Super Bowl guys there, and they still can't sell it out.
I don't know. I mean,
that's crazy though. I mean, William Perry, that whole battle royal was based on him, man. That was
it was.
You really thought he was gonna win. Like, I mean, from a fan perspective, I mean, they could have made that thing. I mean, they could have rolled out the carpet for him at that point. I mean,
was that like how long did that run, that NFL thing?
How long was that?
Yeah,
they were promoting it.
Yeah,
a couple months at least.
So there were a couple of months promotion for that one battle royal.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I can't believe they didn't do like anything else. They couldn't get like some scrubs in. They couldn't have like, because like you think like the NFL in '85 was nothing what it was in like 2005.
I know. I heard they were supposed to have Too Tall Jones in it, but he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to get hurt. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. Yeah.
I mean, they probably got some more guys. I mean, it was interesting though. If you listen to the people like. When they announce Bruno, he comes down, but it's nothing compared to when Perry comes down. Like, they shake the roof off that place.
But it wasn't a sellout.
No, and that's hard.
Bundy will let you know that.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe though. That's just so hard to believe because you look at it and you're looking at this, the fans, and it looks like it's a sellout. It does, but hey, if they can't sell out, they can't sell out. But that's where it could go back into debate too. Like, was the WWF in the '80s really as good as they said it was, or was it overhyped? I don't know. I didn't live it, so I don't know. But
I don't know either.
I think everyone made good money, though. I don't know. Bruno, from listening to his interviews, it seemed like they wanted him to come back just to help with the houses because Hogan wasn't drawing. But if you listen to other people, it seems like Hogan was making a ton of money. So I don't know. I do feel like that when I did ask the question on our page the one time, who's a bigger star, Bruno or Hogan, I mean,
Facebook group.
yeah. Shameless plug.
NSR Wrestling Podcast. Please join that.
Yeah, join it, please. I don't know, like Hogan or Bruno, who was the bigger star? It just depends where you lived, in your own opinion. I think if you get down to dollar signs,
there's a huge argument between who's the biggest star, Bruno or Race.
Yeah,
huge arguments.
I'd say it depends where you live, because I'm sure out west they're like, who's Bruno? But then here it's like, who's Harley Race? Like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I would tell you, as a fan growing up, no one ever mentioned Harley Race. The only time I saw Harley Race was in WCW as a manager,
right,
of Lex Luger. So that's, but yeah, there's a big argument for that. But
there was always whispers of Bruno here.
Yeah.
But I imagine it was like just like that in St. Louis, Chicago.
Oh yeah, everywhere
Milwaukee.
you go. Yeah, everywhere you go. Do you have a favorite memory at all of King Kong Bundy?
Just one thing I really liked about Bundy is just, just him doing all those shoots. Like,
yeah, I mean, him and Honky were like the shoot kings, man, for a while. They were shooting all over the place with these DVDs.
Because like, here's the catch. I think like, I like wrestlers. I would like a wrestler if I know what his like personality is like really like.
Yeah.
There are plenty of wrestlers where I sit there and I'm like, I don't get this. But then you follow them on Twitter, you like, you figure out what their interests and their likes are and what their wrestling philosophy is. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
No. It's the ones you can't peg, or they're just utter assholes.
Yeah.
Then it's just like, I just can't do this.
Yeah.
Getting like, listening to Bundy talk and like give his opinions about things, it's just like, okay, now I understand this more. I get all of it, and that's really when I became a fan of Bundy, rather than like just passively watching him.
I'm trying to think. I think the Pro Wrestling Diaries was a great memory for me, just watching his behind the scenes about everything. He's so funny. That and Married with Children, I think, was just hysterical watching him on that.
It takes him out of the ring, off the page as a larger than life character.
Yeah.
And it makes it more relatable. When you actually can relate with someone, that's when I feel like a connection could be made.
And that's why I feel like the 80s, man, those guys are larger than life characters. The Honky Tonk Man, the Iron Sheik, Hulk Hogan, Hillbilly Jim, right. King Kong Bundy, Andre, the list goes on.
Which are all great and fine when they're Honky Tonk Man, but when you get the Honky Tonk Man sitting in a hotel room sipping Gatorade and tequila,
yeah,
talking about stuff, it's just like, okay,
yeah,
all right, let's do this.
I think almost Bundy had like, you could almost argue he had a longer career as an indie wrestler.
I would say it probably just as long.
Yeah, I mean, probably like maybe early 90s till, later 2000s, if that.
Right.
Being an indie guy. So, I mean, every indie show you would think of, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, who's on the card? Well, main event, like you said, Doink against Honky Tonk Man, or Kamala against King Kong Bundy, or Bundy and Honky Tonk Man against Doink and somebody else, like
JYD,
Tom Brady or whatever. They were all on these independent shows, so he was definitely an independent guy for a long time, too. But, I mean, they all are in their own way. They're independent contractors. That's another argument, too, we could get into. Yeah. That whole thing, but...
yeah. I feel like this was a very unique discussion.
It is. We've covered a lot. It's been a lot of fun. We're really going to miss King Kong Bundy. May he rest in peace. He was great.
Right.
I mean, what a great... And it's sad, too, because so many of these guys are passing away from our childhood that it's overwhelming to me. I remember so many Saturdays sitting there watching an old VHS, and it's like, Bundy, Hogan, Mr. Fuji, Rowdy Piper, and, Big John Studd and all those guys, and... most of them aren't, here anymore.
And I'll tell you what, I'm trying to look this up real quick. He does have a store up on Pro Wrestling Tees. I'm pretty sure that his family would probably benefit if you buy a T-shirt.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Right, because or if you want to, you can still like buy shoots from a reputable seller.
Yeah, I mean,
just do what you can to support his family and his time of need. In their time of need, so
yeah, it's very important. I agree.
Right, so I just don't want to do this again for the next guy.
I know. We just lost too many guys last year.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible.
Like young, nice guys. That's my catch too.
I know. It's your whole childhood's disappearing. It's scary to think. But then we look at our age too. We're almost middle age now. It's crazy.
Oh, stop!
I know. Hard to believe, but it's true.
Oh,
I know.
Oh no. Kids, believe in yourselves.
Yeah.
Kids, if you can, move out of your parents' house. Don't be like me.
Oh, it's okay.
No, it's not.
What do you want to do? The final shameless plugs for our stuff too?
Yeah, we can do the plugs for that. So, iTunes still around the corner. See, I was on the here's what happened with the iTunes.
Oh, okay.
So I tried building my own computer, and I failed miserably. So as soon as I get my computer built, that's really when I'm going to go back and catalog all the previous.
Yeah, we have a lot.
Yeah, like God, what episode number would this be? It's going to
think
be like 98.
Yeah, 98.
We've been like slowly.
We're getting on the 100.
Yeah, we've been talking about episode 100 for like several years now.
We have to go all out for this.
Right.
Probably several hours show.
Oh yeah.
If you people can listen that long.
Don't go all night.
Yeah.
Oh,
NSR all nighter.
let's do it. You know,
I think it'd be fun.
100 hours.
We have so much content. It is ridiculous. Like, honestly, folks, once we do get on iTunes, you might not agree with everything, and that's fine. You might not like everything. That's fine, too, because sometimes I listen to stuff we did. I'm like, ugh. It's growing pains, though, you know?
You know, you're right. It is growing pains, but they're very unique time capsules.
They are.
Of their... Like, watching, TNA screw up, month after month after month and talking about it.
I mean, and it was so, like going into them... And I think everybody can agree. It was so frustrating to be fans with them because you wanted to believe in them so much, and you wanted to see them go to the next level, and they just never did. And they made really, really dumb mistakes. And honestly, the average Joe could go back and say,
"Why would you do this?"
But they could even see it at the time. Like, I was saying things, and you were saying things. I'm like, why don't they see that?
These aren't like retrospects.
No,
these are like in the moment. And oh my God, what are they doing?
And it's still going on right now.
Yeah.
And it's just it shows you that it's not going to change or get better. So you're better off just. I mean, I said it, we said it, to move on. We gave up on them, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you just got to know when to hold them and fold them.
It's tough love.
It is.
Like, you can say what you want about the talent they sign now, but you know what? What's to stop them from doing what they did with Global Force, just up and deleting everything?
I know. We have to talk about that. I want to do that too.
Oh, that's
how could you do that, and why would you do that? And the thing is too about them, it's like they've just faded into the abyss so much, no pun intended, that they're just like everybody else now. Yeah. Where it's like you wouldn't even recognize that they would have even been an attempt to be a number two. Like, you would just see them and say, oh, they're just like so and the other. I mean, you don't see a difference. It's sad.
I can't believe TNA bashing has sprung from us trying to push all our sites.
Yeah, I know.
The Facebook group,
Yeah,
NSR Pro Wrestling Podcast.
I tell you what, guys, if you go on our Facebook group, it's a lot of fun. We try our best. We're not like these crazy, we don't sit there and
Yeah, we're not going to hound you for posting the wrong opinion.
Yeah, and all that stuff. You get on, some of these groups are odd, and I think a lot of these people need jobs. But we're not like that. So come, talk about what you want to talk about, have fun.
Especially if you're a wrestler, definitely post stuff in your career. There was that Alex Hammerstone who posted stuff on his career.
He's in that other group now. He's in that one company that just came back, MLW. He's a wrestler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, finally got. I always wanted to see him get that. Just that one. Just go with that one company where we could finally get in there, and he's getting in there now.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah,
really, really glad. Actually, honestly, quick little tangent. I like it when wrestlers just go out and just follow random fans.
Yeah, it's fun.
Ali Rex, Ethan HD, Jody Threat are people who just... Some MMA fighter in Japan just put a random comment on one of my Instagram photos. I'm like, and he wants to be a New Japan star.
There you go.
Well, hey, God bless you. I can't pronounce your name. It's like Yudo.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are hard. Those Japanese names are very hard to pronounce.
Yeah, I don't think he actually have it written in English. But hey, he's got a fan in America.
Well, God bless him for trying.
Yeah, go get him, man.
Yeah. We've that's the thing. I think our 100th episode, we should be it could be literally an all-nighter. We'll talk about everything. There's so much to talk about. There's so many new companies up. So many things are returning. People are coming back and going. There's just a ton of wrestling to talk about.
What's it like actually having a wrestling podcast?
Yeah.
We've done 100 episodes or something.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, a lot of podcasts, they come and go, but... we've pretty much...
Not a whole lot of companies or podcasts can do, hundreds, 100 episodes.
And even if we only have, 10 listeners, I don't care. We're still doing it. We're having fun.
Dozens of hours of content. Hundreds of hours of content.
Yeah.
Because each podcast, we've done an hour plus. This one is...
We're almost heading that direction. But here's the thing, too. You can listen in your car. You can listen on your way to work. You can listen, when you're working out or whatever. we have so much content. It's ridiculous.
It's the wave of the future, man.
Yeah, it is.
On-demand online radio.
If you're driving a cross-country trip or you're going down the north to south,
Yeah.
you got hours of us. You can listen to what we have to say. I mean,
I wonder what TNA was like in 2009. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. We'll tell you. And we're very similar to a lot of the other people that talk about it. I mean, I think universally the fans have just, you love TNA and you'll stay till the end, or you were a fan but you gave up.
I feel like we were the most let down.
Yeah. I mean,
I know I was.
Jared owes me money. That's the way I see it.
I feel like Hogan owes me money.
Oh,
He's the only one.
He came in there. We'll have to talk about that too. But you know what? It's been almost a year since we talked about TNA because we gave up on them last year. Remember?
Yeah, I can't.
It's been a full year, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
and plus, not supporting TNA is not like not supporting the wrestlers.
Yeah.
Support the wrestlers because they still they still do other things, but just don't support Impact.
Yeah, I don't blame them, and they've given you no reason to. So
yeah,
and every reason not to. But yeah, I mean, so check out us on Facebook. We're on Facebook.
There's YouTube.
Yep, YouTube. Just type in New School Republic. Also, we have our website www.newschoolrepublic.com, which I'm in the middle of changing, so we're gonna focus more on wrestling, I guess, and less on our acting stuff. But there's more acting stuff that's around the corner, so it's just gonna change a little bit. And that's pretty much it. Like Brandon said, we're gonna be on iTunes probably within the next couple of weeks, so it's coming. Well, thank you so much for talking about King Kong Bundy with me. It was a good time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Well, I'm Petrie.
I'm Chris.
And have a great night.